Welcome to Today with Marilyn and Sarah. I'm so excited, really excited to get to share with you today on some really amazing and encouraging things. And you may be watching right now and you say, well, that's great. I'm happy that you're excited. But Sarah, you need to know I have really significant needs in my life. You may be watching right now and you may say, I'm having some real health challenges. You may be watching right now and you may say, oh, my family, oh my goodness, you have no idea the crisis that's going on with my family. You may be watching right now and struggling in your marriage, having some emotional issues. Whatever the needs are in your life, we would like to pray for you. We would like to have the opportunity and the privilege of getting to pray for you. So get on our website, or you can call us on the phone. We love to pray for you, and we see God do amazing answers to prayer. And then there's lists and lists of stuff that we read, and it's so encouraging to see God's answers to prayer. So get on the phone, get on the website, but let us have the privilege and the honor of getting to minister to you in prayer today. And, you know, God was dealing with me very strongly just a few weeks ago about the journey to provision. You know, many of us, we have needs in our life. I was just talking with a friend of mine, the faucet thingy on our hose thing for the sink in the kitchen just broke. And so we got to fix that. You know, we're having some needs. The toilet is broken, it's leaking, you know, and so we got to fix the wood. You know, we all have needs in our life. Some of you watching, you say, well, I need a job. We need all kinds of stuff. And God absolutely has provisions to match those needs. But I think sometimes if we're not careful, we tend to think that money is the answer to those needs. You know, if I had more money, I could pay that bill. If I had more money, you know, we could fix the faucet, the sink or whatever, you know, in the kitchen. If we had more money, you know, we could fix the car. If I had more money, you know, this would solve this problem. And I believe that's true, that a lot of times money does answer some of those needs. But I want you to consider something else. I think that there are many times that God has provisions for us to answer those needs in our life, not just in the way of money, but also in different ways. So, for example, I was thinking about this recently in relation to Abraham. When Abraham went to sacrifice Isaac and God spoke to him, like in Genesis, I believe it's 20 or chapter 22, he takes Isaac to sacrifice him. And really, this is a significant need that Abraham has in his life. You know, oh my goodness, I'm going to give up my one and only son whom I love. And God had an answer to that need. And I call that timely supply. And oftentimes God's provisions have a timely relevance. He'll provide what you need, sometimes seems like at the last minute. And sometimes it's the exact provision to match that need. But I want to encourage you that sometimes God provides for the needs in our life in different ways. One of the ways that God provides for the needs in our life is through wisdom. You say, what do you mean by that? Well, I want to invite you, if you have your Bible, you might want to flip over to Daniel chapter 1, because we're going to be looking today at Daniel chapter 1 and how God provides wisdom for us to help us with the needs in our life. And when you look at Daniel chapter 1, you have these 4 Hebrew men who are in a very needy situation. And this is pretty amazing because when you look in verses 3 and 4, it says that these guys have been relocated. King Nebuchadnezzar came into Judah, to Jerusalem, and he basically captured and conquered the entire country. And when he did this, he besieged it, and it was brutal. I mean, brutal things happened, lots of babies dying, you know, all kinds of horrible things went down. But he also did this. After he conquered the country, he said, I want to take some of the best and the brightest. I want to take their leaders of tomorrow. I want to take these young men, and I want to bring them all the way back to Babylon, and I want to educate them. And so when these men come back, they come all the way back to Babylon, and these are some young guys. They're probably, you know, teens, maybe early 20s, but they come and they're replaced or dislocated and relocated into Babylon. When they get there, you need to understand what they've just come out of. They've just come out of many years of fighting against Nebuchadnezzar, many years of deficiency, many years of hardship, of difficulties, of trauma, seeing all kinds of awful things, people dying, people starving to death, all kinds of violence. And now they've been taken away probably from their families, and they've been relocated to a totally foreign country, a foreign culture, a foreign language, and they don't know what kind of future they have. I'm telling you, they're in a very needy situation. You may be watching right now and you're in a very needy situation. You say, well, I can really relate. There's all kinds of things that are happening to me. I feel like the rug's been pulled out and I need help. I need God. We want to pray for you. So get on the phone or get on the website. We want to pray for you because God has provisions for you in these needy times. And these men, I want to tell you, when I think about being relocated as a teenager to a foreign country, never see your mom or dad again, never go back to your homeland, you don't know what's going on, that's very unsettling. That's extremely disturbing. And these men, these young men, are in a very needy, difficult, hard situation, very uncertain. And I believe that in their emotions they were struggling. I believe that they were struggling for vision, for the future, for their purpose. You know, they were raised to be leaders in Israel and Judah, and now suddenly they've been relocated. They don't know what the future is going to hold. They don't even know if they're going to survive from one month to the next. They don't know. And so it's a very, very uncertain time and an uncertain future, and they're struggling. And we can relate to this. You may be struggling right now. You feel like, I don't know about my future. Maybe you're struggling. You say, well, I've lost my job. Maybe you got a bad prognosis from the doctor. Maybe you heard some really awful news from your mate. Maybe you are just struggling with some emotional issues from the past that seem to just cut your legs out from you even now. We want to pray for you. We want to pray and see God do supernatural things. So get on the phone or get on the website, but we want to pray for you. And just like these men, I believe they cried out to God and said, we need some help here. We need some help. We've got good potential in us, because when you read about who they are in verses 3 and 4, it says they were good looking. They showed intelligence in every branch of wisdom. They were endowed with understanding, discernment, knowledge, and ability to serve in the king's court. So they had tremendous potential, huge potential, and great learning capacity, all kinds of stuff. And I want to encourage you that you have potential as well. God has put things inside of you, talents and gifts and skills, insights that other people don't have. God has tremendous potential that He's put inside of you, and He's put that inside of you for a future and for a purpose. And we want to pray for you if you don't know what that future is, if you don't know what that purpose is. You say, well, I just feel lost, like I'm floundering. I think maybe these guys felt like they were floundering too. But we want to pray for you. So get on the phone or get on the website. We like to pray for you. And these men, it's interesting because they were kind of put to the test. And anytime you're in a difficult situation, a hard, uncertain future, that's oftentimes a test season. You say, well, I need God to help me. I need His provisions. And this is what I want to encourage you with. If you look at verses 8 to 10 in chapter 1, Daniel chapter 1, you'll see what happens here. Because these men, these Hebrew boys, decided we're going to stay true to God's law and rule and directions in our life. We're not going to eat the same foods that the king eats. We're not going to drink the same stuff that they drink. We're going to set ourselves aside. This is how, basically this is what they said. This is how mom and dad raised us. This is how they taught us to eat. And we're going to stay true to what they told us. Because that's how mom and dad, that's how we were raised. This is how Jewish people eat. This is what we do. This is our behavior. These are our standards. And we're not going to change that. And that's exactly basically what they said. And it's a real test. Because when they made that decision and that declaration, remember, they're under training. They're supposed to learn all of the ways of the culture here, the language and all the literature and all this stuff. But when they made the decision on the food, the guy who was in charge to bring them food said, I don't think that's a good idea, because all you guys are going to want to eat is fruits and vegetables and grains, and this is called like the Daniel fast. All you want to do is eat this stuff. And I'm concerned because I think you guys are going to waste away. I think you're going to be emaciated. I'm very concerned that you're not going to look good. And if I get in trouble, think about it. And he even says this, the king may have my head because he might think that I wasn't taking good care of you. And oftentimes when we decide to really stay true to God's plan, and we're in difficult situations, we're in a difficult, uncertain, it's hard, we don't know what's going on, we can't see the future well. When we make those decisions, look, I don't know what the future holds, I don't understand, but I'm going to stay true to God. I'm going to stay true to what He's told me in my heart. When we make those decisions, those are not easy decisions. They're difficult. They take tremendous conviction and strength and really discipline to follow through on those decisions. But I want to tell you the dividends that they pay, and we'll see this here in a little bit. We'll see the results of this decision and see how amazing it was for these guys who made this decision. But right now you may be watching and you're saying, yeah, I'm in the middle of that. I made a decision to honor God. I made a decision to follow God. I made a decision not to cheat on my business partner. I made a decision not to cheat on my husband or be angry with him or unforgive him because of things he did or didn't do, or same way on the wife. You say, well, I made a decision not to cheat in the workplace because everybody else is, turning in hours that they didn't really work, and I made a decision to be honest. Well, I want to encourage you that God will honor that integrity. God will honor that decision. Get on the phone. We want to pray for you that God would help you to give you strength and power to walk out that decision. Maybe you're watching right now and you say, man, I should have made that decision. I've joined in and done what everybody else did. I just joined the crowd and kind of followed what they said. I've been cheating the boss, been cheating on my mate. I haven't been keeping my integrity, haven't been walking in honor or honesty. We want to pray for you as well. If you're struggling with integrity and you say, well, I made some bad decisions. Oh my goodness. And I made wrong choices. I hurt people with my choices. And I really need God to forgive me. I need God to help me, to restore me, to redeem me. Absolutely, God can totally redeem bad decisions. He can redeem things where you lacked integrity. God can say, oh, when you repent, I'll make up for your deficiency. So get on the phone. We like to pray for you. Get on the website. Leave your prayer request there. We consider it an honor to pray for you. But I just want to encourage you. God has provisions for you in times of need. And just like these Hebrew men were struggling, they didn't know what was going on, God absolutely has complete solutions, complete provisions, and He knows exactly what's going on in your life. I want you to stay tuned because this next part is going to be amazing.
To go to Johannesburg, South Africa with Sarah and me for the most blessed time of your life to minister. It will be so awesome, and you can get your brochure today. Is that right?
That's right. Call or get on the website for the information. And we have an additional opportunity, Mom, for an excursion to Cape Town to see a safari, as well as Robben's Island, where Nelson Mandela was. Absolutely amazing things that are in Cape Town. That's an additional excursion. But the primary thing we want to encourage you with here is our ministry opportunities in Johannesburg. We're going to be ministering at nighttime as well as a Saving Moses opportunity. This is a life-changing trip and you don't want to miss out. Mom, how can they come?
They can come and get the brochure, but you could also scholarship someone to go. And a group of you could get together and scholarship your pastor and totally bless him and change his life. We want to hear from you today.
We're talking about the journey to provision, God's provisions in our life. And so many times we want God's provisions to be money related, and oftentimes that is what we need. But oftentimes God has provisions for us beyond money. And we're looking today at Daniel chapter 1. And we're seeing here that sometimes God's provisions include not only finances, but also include wisdom. And when we've been talking about this, we see that these 4 Hebrew men, young men, they were probably either in their teens or their late 20s. They had been captured and brought to Babylon under the leadership of Nebuchadnezzar. And they were being taught the language, the literature, the culture of the Chaldeans. They were being really indoctrinated and, I don't want to say brainwashed, but certainly transformed to understand their new environment. And it's a very difficult season for them. They had just left their home, left their families, all kinds of trauma. There had been a lot of violence because Nebuchadnezzar had conquered Judah and Jerusalem, and they'd been relocated back over here to Babylon. So it was a very traumatic season. But in the middle of that season, they made the decision that they were going to continue to eat and follow the rules and the laws that they had been taught at home. And so when they made that decision, and they said, look, and they told the guy who was their guard, who was in charge of them, they said, we don't want to eat what you're feeding everybody else. We want to eat the way Mom and Dad taught us to eat back home. We want to honor, basically in their minds, they're saying, we want to honor God and His laws and His ways. We don't want to deviate from that. This is the way Mom and Dad raised us, so we're going to follow that. And when they told him that, the leader of their group said, I don't think this is a good idea. In fact, he said, if the king sees you, and this is chapter 1, verse 10, I'm afraid, my lord the king, who has appointed your food and your drink, if he sees your faces looking more haggard, he would take my head off, in essence. And so the leader who's over these 4 Hebrew men, I don't want to do this. And I love what they say back to him. This is just, I think, tremendous wisdom. And this is what they say in verses 12 and 13. Please, test us for 10 days, and let us be given vegetables and water to drink. Then look at our appearance and the appearance of those with us, and compare us with those who are eating everything else. Compare these 4 Hebrew guys with the rest of the people on your diet. And, I love this, deal with your servants according to what you see. Look at us and see. If we don't pass the test, then we'll go back and we'll eat what you're giving everybody else. But if we pass the test, we want to stay on this same regimen, this same diet. And when you have wisdom, sometimes it takes tremendous discipline and conviction and some moral fortitude to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to bow down. No, I'm not going to do the same thing as everybody else. No, I'm going to maintain my standards. I'm going to keep my integrity. I'm going to keep the discipline. I'm going to keep my wisdom. And that's what these men did. And you may be watching today and you say, well, I need wisdom. I need that strength. I need that discipline. I need that internal fortitude. Well, we would love to pray for you. So get on the phone or get on the website. But we want to pray for you that God would give you the strength, God would give you the wisdom so that you can have His results. Because what I want us to consider here is some of the results here in just a little minute. Because after these men had been tested for 10 days, if you read verses 14 to 16, Daniel chapter 1, it says, at the end of 10 days, their appearance seemed better. They were fatter than everybody else who had been eating the king's food. And as I was looking at this, I was thinking, these men had huge wisdom and huge conviction. And they said, we're not going to change. We're not going to deviate. Look and see. And oftentimes when you receive wisdom and you apply wisdom, you can get it, you can receive it and not do it. And that's its own little problem. But when you receive wisdom and you do it, then the consequences of that become obvious to people around you, walking in wisdom. And you may be watching today and you say, well, oh my goodness, I'm realizing maybe I don't need money, maybe I need more wisdom with the money I do have. Maybe I don't need more money to solve my health issues, maybe I need more wisdom on what I do with my food, with my exercise. Wisdom combined with discipline. Maybe I don't need more money for the repairs in my house. Maybe I need the wisdom on how to do it myself. Lots of ways that wisdom can come in, and we say, well, money would fix this. Possibly, but I love this. Oh my goodness, I love this. In Proverbs chapter 8, it says, take my instruction. This is about wisdom. Take my instruction and not silver, for wisdom is better than jewels, better than price, than all kinds of gold. And so many times we settle for the finances and the wealth and the money, and we neglect the wisdom. Family, I want to encourage you that today you need wisdom. And absolutely, the Bible says, with all you're getting, get wisdom. And we want to encourage you that you get on the phone now, call and say, pray for me that I would have wisdom. Wisdom is what I need. Money would help, but the wisdom is the real need in my life. Get on the phone, get on the website. We want to pray for you. And you say, well, I don't know that I need wisdom. Well, I'm going to tell you and give you some results that would probably, maybe, convince you that you need wisdom. And it's results related to Daniel chapter 1 with these men making this decision. When you look at verse 17, It says, as for these 4 youth, God gave them knowledge and intelligence in every branch of literature and wisdom. Daniel even understood all kinds of visions and dreams. And then when you look at verse 19, this is absolutely amazing. In verse 19 it says, the king interviewed these 4 Hebrew men. He interviewed them and he said this, that no one was found like Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They entered the king's personal service. And listen to this, verse 20. As for every matter of wisdom and understanding which the king questioned them on, he found them to be 10 times better than all the magicians and conjurers who were in his realm. How amazing is that? That these men who said, I'm going to stay true to what I've learned from mom and dad, I'm going to apply wisdom in my life, I'm going to walk in that wisdom. When they did that, then even the king, Nebuchadnezzar, interviewing them, after he interviews them, says, these guys are 10 times better than anybody else that I have who's giving me direction and advice and all this stuff. These guys are the cream of the crop, and they stand out. They stood out head and shoulders way above everybody else because of wisdom. Now watch this. When you continue to read through Daniel chapter 1, you'll notice that at the end of the chapter it says that Daniel served in the kingdom of Babylon. He served in the kingdom of Babylon for decades. He didn't just serve Nebuchadnezzar. He served 2 or 3 other kings as well. And he served them well. And he was very highly honored, highly revered, and esteemed by all of the kings that he served. And I want to encourage you that wisdom has long-term benefits. Wisdom isn't just for what happens when you're a teenager, what happens when you're in your 20s, you kind of learn and grow. Not for just only when you're in your 30s. And wisdom, sometimes I think we have this mistake. We think that wisdom is for the people that have gray hair and the old people. And you say, well, they had to go through a lot to get all that wisdom. But if you notice, these guys had wisdom as young men. As young men. And no matter what your age is, we can all get and receive more wisdom and walk in more wisdom. So I encourage you, get on the phone and say, pray for me that I would have more wisdom. I believe that so many times we settle for second best, and God wants to give us wisdom, and that's absolutely His first best is wisdom. So get on the phone or get on the website and say, pray for me, I need wisdom. Now I want to encourage you that as we think about applying this message, how can we apply this? First of all, I want to encourage you, look at the situations in your life. Look at your life, look at maybe you're in school, maybe you're work at home, sit-at-home mom, maybe you're trying to balance 2 or 3 jobs at the same time, maybe you're unemployed, you're looking, maybe you're a professor in a school, but look at the situations in your life. Look at areas where there seems to be need. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's in your health, maybe it's in your relationships, maybe you have some emotional needs, but assess, take an inventory and say, what are the needs in my life? And I venture to say that many of those needs would be solved if you had more wisdom, more insight, more understanding, more discernment. So please get on the phone. We want to pray for you. In James 1 it says, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask without doubting. Ask with faith. And we want to ask with you on your behalf. Ask God that He would give you wisdom. And when we ask, it says that He gives us wisdom when we ask with faith and confidence. So hop on the phone. Let us pray for you that God would give you wisdom. Get on the website. We want to pray for you that God would give you wisdom and wisdom in all of your life as you raise your children, as you help with your grandchildren, as you work in your finances, in your health, in all the areas of your life, in your relationships, that God will give us wisdom in all the areas and all the needs that we have in our life.
We all need miracles, and I want to share a miracle of a car with you that happened to me some years ago and has absolutely stimulated my faith to believe for cars for others. My husband sowed a $1,000 seed when we just had a very small church, and we were saving that money for a car for ourselves because our car was a wreck. So he felt led to sow it, and it frightened me, honestly. But, what could I say? He did it. And he said to me, Marilyn, don't worry. He said, God told me to do that. He will provide us a car. And so several months later, somebody borrowed the old car we had and wrecked it. So we have no car, no money, but we have faith in Jesus. And within like a month, John Osteen came to our church. We didn't know him. And he looked at my husband and he said, I see the letters C-A-R over your head. Do you need a car? And listen to this. My husband said, well, kind of. Hey, we're desperate. We have people picking us up to take us to church, and we're the pastors. But he received an offering that morning, and God gave us a beautiful car. Now, let me tell you, from that time on, I've had miracle cars over and over. But I love to pray for cars for other people, because when you have faith for something, then it overflows. It has a great ripple effect. So I've prayed for people for cars all over the world, third world countries, all kinds of places, and I've seen miracle provisions because He is our Jehovah Jireh. He sees ahead, and He has a provision for us. So I want you to believe today for a special miracle for your own life. I know that every one of you watching me needs some special provisions. Maybe a car, maybe a house, maybe finances, maybe a job. But I have found that there is provision for your vision. And Sarah and I have put this together with special teaching for the provision God has for your vision, your special need. And then we also have put a booklet in here called Provision for Your Vision, that you can speak the promises for your need every day and listen. So what are you doing? You're seeing, you're speaking, and you're hearing. And what does that do to you? It builds your faith. And everyone sending a gift of any size this month, we want you to have this. Really, to me, this is a must for you. And now you're going to watch exactly how to get it, but don't put it off. This is your day to have a breakthrough.
You can experience provision for your vision. This eye-opening resource contains 2 breakthrough teachings as well as a 22-page booklet filled with faith-building nuggets of wisdom. It's our special thank you when you sow a seed gift of any size to help keep this kind of transformative teaching coming to you and others. And if you can share a seed gift of $77 or more, we want to rush you our Financial Breakthrough Bundle, filled with some of the most powerful prosperity teaching we've ever produced. The Financial Breakthrough Bundle includes Provision for Your Vision, plus Millionaire Faith, Soul Prosperity, Faith for Your Finances, Secrets of the Seed, and the combination CD booklet set, Seed Secrets. Call or click right now to share a gift and receive these life-transforming teachings. Get the Financial Breakthrough Bundle and get ready to step into your place as a child of the King.